Welcome, everyone. We're so thrilled to have you here. I know many of you have traveled vast distances. I've heard Nigeria, Houston, Denver, Chicago, LA. Where else?
Spokane, Washington.
Washington, D.C. Thank you all for coming. This is a very special treat for all of us at the museum because we have been showcasing Afikpo art since 2007. And we've been relying on the expertise that we can find, but it's a thrill to be able to see all of you responding, hopefully with positive feelings about what we've been able to do. There are members of the general public who've been invited, so I'm going to just acknowledge that the majority of our audience is from Afikpo Organization USA, correct? Yes. And we are hosting this jointly as a community program under the auspices of our education staff, and that's Philip in the back representing that team. The program today has two elements. First, we're going to have a chance to learn more about the intelligence behind Afikpo Masquerade from an Afikpo scholar, Dr. Umenachi. And then second, we're going to have a very rare chance to see how an elder is given a new title. It will involve a little bit of testimony by myself about this elder's contribution to the knowledge in the museum field, and an affirmation of his impact on the broader world of African studies. Getting all of us aligned in Seattle would not have happened without the constant diligence of Sam Irene, who's sitting in the far back. And he is the real mastermind behind all that we're up to today. The speaker who will deepen our understanding of Afikpo art and culture today is Dr. Nachi Umenachi. He is a professor of philosophy and the co-director of the honors program at Scott Community College, which is located in Bettendorf, Iowa. Dr. Umenachi is a native of Afikpo. He received his bachelor's degree from Bigard Memorial Seminary in Cross River State, Nigeria, and his MA and PhD from the University of Nebraska. His doctoral thesis was entitled Marriage in Afikpo Culture, a Philosophical Inquiry. Dr. Umenachi joined the Afikpo Organization USA in 2001 and was appointed chairman of the Cultural Education Committee in 2005. Since 2009, he has given annual lectures that are often published in the Afikpo Today magazine. Please join me in welcoming him for this year's annual lecture entitled Afikpo Masquerade as Investigative Journalism in Afikpo.
Professor Emeritus Hori Simon Ottenberg, distinguished guests, special invitees, administrators of Seattle Art Museum, ladies and gentlemen of Seattle and the great state of Washington State in USA, fellow brothers and sisters of Afikpo Organization USA. Thank you all so much for being here at this historic occasion. It is a historic occasion because we're here to witness and honor Afikpo masks and masquerades, especially Afikpo displayed here, not in Afikpo, not in Ebonyi State, not in Nigeria, but in Seattle, Washington State, the USA. It is a historic occasion. And it is also a historic occasion because of the opportunity for us to tell the people of Seattle, the people of Washington State, the people of the USA, what Hori, Professor Emeritus Simon Ottenberg, means to us. Not just here in the USA, but in Africa. And more especially that we are not here just because a young white man did his PhD thesis and research work, and anthropological research work in Africa in 1952. We're not here just because of that. There is something more to that why we are here. And like Sam mentioned, that will be one of the first things that I will talk about. That is the literary significance of Simon Ottenberg to this lecture today. But before I begin, it will not be appropriate to just start without acknowledging some people. The Seattle Art Museum, we thank you so much for accepting to house Okonkwo Cultural Display. It was a great honor you gave to Hori Simon Ottenberg and also gave to the whole of African people and Nigeria and Africa in general. It is our hope that you will make this museum a perpetual destination of cultural pilgrimage of African people around the globe. Mr. Philip Nasdi, thank you for organizing this and including this program in your Summer African Disguise series. And Ms. Pam McCloskey, what can I say? It was in 2006 that we started corresponding about the display of Okonkwo. I cannot thank you enough because I know the hard work you put into it to make it a reality. We are very grateful to you, and we thank you for that. I also thank the current organization of Africa USA Today, for President Madam Dr. Immaculata Igbo, for spearheading organizing this year in Seattle, Washington. Organizing this year here, we had some roles to fulfill. We decided that we're going to use it to fulfill our traditional role to Professor Emeritus Simon Ottenberg as a Hori in Africa. In Africa, as I will talk about the system of ecology, that is the age-grade system, which is a system by which an African person participates in the community according to his or her age at a particular point in time. And this has been chronicled by Professor Ottenberg in his 4 monumental books. So according to that system, at the age of 21, what we call a sa eto, a young person becomes an adult, and you enter the Ogo political organization. You can then participate in the politics of the community. And between 21 and 35, we have the Umelia Ebugo, the young people, who then take care of so many activities. And then between 35 and 45, you have Ishela Ebugo. Then between 55 and 65, you have Eto Ebugo. And then 65 and 75, you have Esa. And 75 and 85, you have Oneka. And between 86 and 95, you have Hori. Professor Emeritus Simon Ottenberg is now Hori. When you reach that stage, every community event is held at your place and with your permission. You no longer move out to go and witness a community event. That was one of the reasons why we brought this here. He has been attending our cultural activities. As a Hori, we needed at least once to take it to his home. So the second the reason is that we're going, as I said, we're going to let you guys know his literary impact in Africa. Why he was given a number of Africa by entire people of Africa. And then later on, our president will tell you why he's given a title also by the Africa Organization, USA. So the third goal I mentioned earlier is that we are here to let you, the administrators of the Art Museum, the people of Seattle, that we, as the Organization of Africa in the USA, we are very willing and ready to enter into a promotional partnership with you guys. What I mean by that is that we are ready at any time to come here to help you promote Africa Mass at this museum. If you want us to produce Okpa live here, we can do it. For me, anytime it will be difficult for me to refuse any invitation from Sam or Bam to come here and say something. So we'll start circulating news. We'll try as much as we can with you to make the Seattle Art Museum a cultural pilgrimage for African people around the globe. And the last person I would like to recognize before I go on is my good friend, Mr. Samuel Irem. Sam Irem, because of his assuming and humble character, could not even put his name on the program. But Sam Irem is literally the elder son, Okenwa, of Hori Simon Ottenberg. The Horis visits home. All his daunting efforts to immortalize African culture come to fruition through the visionary, inspirational, and the commendable father-son relationship between Hori Simon Ottenberg and Samuel Irem. All efforts by the Hori are realized through Sam Irem. And I'm here to say, on behalf of the Africa Organization, as the chair of the Cultural Committee, Sam Irem, we thank you so much for all you have done, and more that you will still do. So with that, he said, I'm going to then start with the significance. So with the literary significance of Simon Ottenberg to this lecture. I told you that it is not just because he did his anthropological work on Africa, but because to me, he represents what I call the Blydenian imperative. Dr. Edward Blyden of the American Colonization Society in 1880 at the University of Liberia, 1881, made this statement: the African must advance by methods of his own. We must show that we are able to carve out our own way We must not be satisfied that the European influence shapes our polity, makes our laws, rules in our tribunals, and impregnates our social atmosphere. We must not suppose that the Anglo-Saxon methods are final and that we have nothing to teach the world. There is inspiration for us also. We must study our brethren in the interior, who know better than we do the laws of growth for the race. We see among them the rudiments of that which, with fair play and opportunity, will develop into important and effective agencies for our work. We look too much to foreigners and are dazzled almost to blindness by their exploits, so as to fancy that they have exhausted the possibilities of humanity. This quote from Blyden has acquired a perpetual character among the elites, some elites of Africa, in the sense that his concerns, the concerns he raised, are still alive in all the corners and nooks of the African continent. For instance, among the nations of Ogahugo, for whom we are here because of Simon Ottenberg, there are even some people now who try to demonize the Ogo political institution, which culturally, as Professor Ottenberg has shown, is the orbit around which the existential system of the Ogo people revolves. But yet, we are not ready even to study our own culture. We are here today because Professor Emeritus Hori Simon Ottenberg has been and continues to be the Liberian spokesman to Ogo people. Through his books, his visits to and interviews at Afikpo, and through his actions in the USA, he has persistently called on the Ogo elite of the 21st century to accept that there is inspiration for them in their culture, if only they can study their brethren in the villages who know better than them the laws of growth for the community. That's why we are here. And to show you the significance and the importance and the value of this to Ogo people, in 1992, he was given the title Enyumba of Ogo, which literally means the mirror of African people to the world. He is the academic mirror through which people see the Ogo people. And to give you a glimpse of how he did that is this. In his 4 monumental books, where he chronicled the life of the Afikpo people. If you read The Double Descent in an African Society, the Afikpo Village Groups, 1968, Leadership and Authority in an Afikpo Society, the Afikpo Village Groups, 1971, Marxed Rituals that we're going to talk about today of Afikpo, the context of an African Act, 1975, and Boyhood Rituals in an Afikpo Society and Interpretation, 1989. When you read those 4 books, you will see, you will acknowledge that he is exactly the intellectual mirror of Afikpo people. And why our people gave him that title? In life, Some mirrors are designed to show us our faces only, some to show a quarter or half of the persons using them, while some are designed to show the full image of whoever uses them. Further, some mirrors too can give you a fuzzy or blurred image of yourself. Some can even give you an illusory image of yourself, either positively or negatively. But a cherished mirror seems to be one that gives authentic, holistic image of the viewer. That is also the case in the literary world, especially in the areas of anthropology, sociology, history, and biographies. Here, holistic, authentic description